this here is Venus. So this gives you a good idea of just how bright Venus is.
Wondering what life's about and what it really means.
Good morning. We all love the planet Venus. How can you not? Now let's have a look when we can see it.
Even when you're sleeping, there's no comfort in your dreams. You're living while you're learning, and the journey can be mean. But God has got your back, so don't you worry about a thing. Every day just keeps repeating as you're passing through the seasons. Always struggling with something, always battling with demons. If it's happiness,
Change the time to 3 a.m. and let's go.
some days will be hard and then some will be even harder. There'll be times when you feel like you just can't take it any longer. But don't think of giving up, cause there's really no need to bother.
Oh, flying through the months. Passing the sun, June 2024.
It is from the start. But when you feel like you're alone and things get bitter and dark, just remember that you're a soldier, there's no fear in your heart. You're able and you're capable. Your strength is unmistakable. Your faith is so unshakable. The pain's made you unbreakable. Any situation
Retrograding in Pisces.
created you. You're wondering what life's about and what it really means.
And there's your uncle, June 2025 to early September 2025.
Purpose here is to identify Venus in the sky and what are some realistic views of what it would look like. And this is a really great photo. Again, we have the moon, we have very bright Venus, and notice it's more of a disc-like shape as well. And then this is Mercury. Let's get a few more pictures of Venus. In fact, this is the one I have the most pictures of. But here we have the Pleiades. And here is Venus. You can see how bright it is compared to the Pleiades. Final photo for you. Here we are looking at Taurus. This is the Pleiades star cluster. And here is the V-shaped face called the Hyades star cluster. And this here is Venus. So this gives you a good idea of just how bright Venus is.
Now we'll have a look how the solar system works. We'll click on these guys.
If you look up an image of the Earth and Moon, you're going to get a picture where they're quite close together. Something like that. But in reality, the Earth and Moon are about that far apart. That is the Earth and the Moon to scale. There is literally not an image that adequately shows you what it actually looks like from out there. The only way to see a scale model of the solar system is to build one. To create a scale model with an Earth only as big as this marble, you need 7 miles of empty space. At this scale, the sun is 1.5 meters. So we are driving right now to Mercury. We've arrived. Venus is the same size as Earth. And Earth.
So let's have a look at the orbital paths. We'll put the Earth there, nice and big so we can see it. We'll put a line. This line represents the day and night sides of the Earth. I'll just line this up right. There we go. Have you noticed anything yet? Everything above the line will be day, and everything below the line will be nighttime on the Earth. Can you see it yet? Let's move the Earth over here. Put a line for the day and night. Now everything on the right is daylight and everything on the left is nighttime on the Earth. And if you can see, Venus's orbital path, it never goes on the night side of the Earth. It doesn't matter where you place the Earth and Venus, Venus will always be on the day side of the Earth. We'll make that smaller. We don't want them to crash into each other.
The pain's made you unbreakable. Any situation that you're facing, you can make it through. God planned it to be that way the day that He created you. You're wondering what life's about and what it really means. Nothing's what you thought it was.
Venus should never be on the night side of the Earth.
Venus is from the Latin word Viernes, meaning Friday. Venus is far from what your local gatekeeper school science teacher thinks. Here we can see the Sun and Moon, Mercury in orange and Venus in small white. Like Mercury, Venus always travels close to the Sun, but is slower and travels further away from the Sun than Mercury, in a slower cycle, ensuring Venus to be the morning star before the Sun, or the evening star after the Sun. This Venus cycle takes 225 days. To the naked eye, Venus doesn't appear to twinkle, but instead glows with a bright and steady silvery light, making her the second brightest light in the night sky, after the Moon. Out of the wandering stars, it is only Venus and Mercury that have phases. So Venus also appears to get smaller and bigger, so again, it either has an apogee and perigee, or it simply gets smaller and bigger where it is, at the same altitude. Here we can see some esoteric labels for Venus' different phases, known as its underworld cycle. Its descent from the evening star to its birth as the morning star. Again, this doesn't have to be drawn as a loop or orbit of the Sun, it could be a straight line. Her full synodic cycle, from inferior conjunction to inferior conjunction, takes near 584 days, or about 1.6 years. This is due to the interaction of Venus's 225-day cycle with the 365-day solar cycle. Now Venus, whether it loops around the Sun or not, when it conjuncts with the Sun, it creates these 5 points. And these 5 points are in perfect geometry above us. This is known as the Dance of Venus. And these 5 points make the perfect pentagram, fractals in the sky. This was all known to the mystics of the Renaissance period. This is the current Venus cycle within its current dance. Venus also creates geometric patterns with Mercury, all from a random Big Bang, they tell your children, via their worldwide mind control program. Venus is the only other wandering star, as well as Mercury, that sometimes appears to pass in front of the Sun. Like Mercury, we don't really know if it is in front of the Sun, or in the Sun, or if it disappears like the Moon due to some pranic handshake. A Venus transit is more rare though. This reoccurrence pattern of 8 plus 105.5 plus 8 plus 121.5 years repeats itself in the catalogue of Venus transits. An example of this pattern is in the transits of 1874, 1882, then 2004 and 2012. Note that Venus appears larger than Mercury when transiting the Sun. Now if one takes a photo from the same location every 24 hours, over 113 years, one sees another dance between the Sun and Venus. One gets an analemma. Here is an analemma from Venus and Mercury. It can be argued that both orbit the Sun. But it may not be the case. Look here. This dot is moving in a simple elliptical path. But if other dots are added, it appears to now go vertical, vertical up and down, but side to side. It is only elliptical when presented alone, so don't jump to conclusions with Venus and Mercury. Venus astrologically signifies aesthetic beauty, romance, courting, relationship dynamics, gentle harmony, grace, and the sensual feminine. It rules the constellation of Libra, air, the energy of balance, harmony, the lover, analysis, and strong mind. It also rules the constellation of Taurus, earth, the energy of nature, luxury, possessions, and grounded endurance. Venus retrograde is not really the time to start new big relationships or to get married. Linked deity and archetype include Isis, Aphrodite, Cleopatra, and the Roman goddess Venus. In Kabbalah, it is the 7th Sephiroth, and this tree of life is many things, including a meditative glyph and a table of classification, where every myth, herb, gemstone, scent, and deity ever known will find its rightful place upon the tree. In a Sephiroth, or in one of the 22 paths. The old Mayan Dresden Codex was all about accurately measuring Venus cycles, and on the last page depicted a cataclysmic flood.
Why, Novak? Why?